So I'm not going to say this is really super new news, and it actually came out a couple of months ago, but I want to talk about it now because we're kind of getting to the point of the off season where we're kind of cooled down from the games. We got UFL, we got basketball, we got all this stuff, and I want to talk about kind of an issue that I kind of felt went under the radar, and that's tampering, and I kind of how to fix tampering. And I have a couple clips I want to run over with Dabo, because he actually had a press conference a couple months ago, 2 months ago, about it. And he actually, I saw it about a week ago, and I really liked what he said, and I've kind of formed my opinion around it because I actually really liked what he said. If you don't know, there's a situation around 3 months ago with a Clemson player who transferred, I think from Cal. He was a linebacker, goes to Clemson. He was enrolled in classes, and Ole Miss with Pete Golding, and we all thought Pete Golding was this great guy. You know, he's replacing the big bad Lane Kiffin, who's the college football hoe. He's the hoe of college football coaches, and we're going to get great Pete Golding, but it does not seem like that will be the case. Pete Golding kind of maybe just as big as, I don't want to say a scumbag, but not very integral with his tampering. And it was a big thing when he was already moved to Clemson on campus in classes. They were reaching out to him at 9 in the morning when Dabo was not paying attention and meeting up with him on Clemson campus to steal him away. So I kind of want to watch a couple minutes of what Dabo has to say, and then I have another clip on his fix on how he would fix tampering. So yeah, let's jump over to. So yeah, here's Dabo talking about. I'll even put on subtitles. But Dabo talking about kind of the situation with the tampering. Let me make these a little bit smaller. Options. Or no. How do I... font size. 100%. Okay. That's crazy. There's a player enrolled at Clemson. You are in Ole Miss. Tampering with him, offering him $1 million for a year. They actually up it to $2 million for 2 years for a linebacker who's going to be a second and third stringer to steal him. You show up at Clemson's crib. You show up at the crib to steal him back to the SIP. Like, what even is college football? Like, not like player Ryan Williams, agent Ryan Williams. So the kid goes to Clemson, and like a couple days later, he's already in class getting tampered while he's in class. They give him more money, and then he just leaves. He just leaves. I mean, if you would have told me that in a 11 to even like a decade, because this was happening a couple of years ago, in 10 years, where we've had the sport that had so little change for decades on decades, and you told me within 10 years, Tattoo-gate was going to get a national championship head coach fired, have the quarterbacks, the starting quarterback and the offensive starters and the stars of the team getting removed because they got tattoos and they traded in memorabilia. And then a decade later, we have tampering, where we're messaging players when they're in class, not in the portal at other schools, offering them money to leave to enter the portal. We're having FIU suing Pitbull because he didn't fulfill his promise on making a football song for them. We have, what is this? I mean, you have with Georgia, the NCAA with not Georgia, with Ole Miss, with Trinidad. We're suing the NCAA a billion times to get him back. I mean, like even with Georgia, the driving stuff, that would have happened a decade ago. Kirby would have been fired. The sport has changed so much, so rapidly, and that there's no laws, and it's like everyone says, oh, it's the wild, wild west. We got to wait for these rules. When are the rules coming? Or I don't think we're getting rules. Like, when is this going to change? Oh my God, it's been muted the whole time. My bad.
They have accused publicly others of tampering with their roster and their players while they are over here tampering.
My bad. God, I might have ruined the video.
This is just a really sad state of affairs, and it's, to me, we have a broken system. And if there are no consequences for tampering, then we have no rules and we have no governance. It's really just that simple, okay? This is not, let me be very clear. This is not about a linebacker at Clemson. I don't listen. I feel sorry for I think it's a symptom of a system that you have a kid that I meet at 9:30 and he's signed the next. Like I feel sorry for the young man, to be honest with you. I blame the adults. And again, if you want to have adult world, then there needs to be adult consequences. Okay. So, but this is not about a linebacker at Clemson, and I don't want anyone on our team that doesn't want to be here. I would never want that. All right. But let me tell you what it is about. It's about the next kid, and it's about the next kid, and it's about the message that is being sent if this blatant tampering is allowed to happen without any consequences. This is about protecting our program. This is about college football. That's what this is about. I stay in my lane most of the time. I've seen a lot of things in my days, and I'm like, hey, man, you just do whatever you're going to do. But here's what I'm going to do. I've always just kind of stayed in my lane, and man, it's...
Okay, so I know it's muted, so you had subtitles, but sorry, I didn't realize it was that for the second half, or the first half. So that was one press conference. This was a couple months ago. And I'm pretty sure this was January 30th, so... Okay, see, this one is about a week or two later. This is what Dabo would do to fix the portal. This is kind of what I really wanted to get to.
Proposal is that everybody gets one free transfer with no consequence. Players whose head coaches leave or the head coach is fired may also transfer without a consequence. If you graduate, you can transfer without a consequence. For all other instances, players must sit one season following their transfer. This would mitigate, not eliminate, but this would mitigate the tampering and again, in some cases, the extortion with agents trying to renegotiate every single year. However, I want to say this. Any player who does have to sit a year, they can have that year of eligibility back reinstated upon graduation. This would incentivize graduation and minimize this 3-4 time transfer situation that to me is plaguing college football. My proposal is that everybody
we're gonna go through it bit by bit again. But yeah, this would prevent stuff like TJ Finley going to 8 colleges in one career. It would also incentivize guys to not go for the draft and to come back. So we'll go over it again, but I think he did a lot of really good things. And I do like the one free transfer. And if you don't, you sit out a year. And that's basically what happened before the portal. You could transfer. It was very shunned upon. So it was kind of like you had a lot of pressure not to do it. But you would always have to sit out a year. Cam Newton, Didn't want to sit out a year because he wanted to play, but Tebow was there, so he left Urban Meyer in Florida, went to JUCO for a year, so he didn't have to sit out, and then went to Auburn in 2010. So yeah, let's go over this again. So let's start off again.
Gets one free transfer with no consequence.
Great, love that.
Players whose head coaches leave or the head coach is fired may also transfer without a consequence.
That too, also like that.
If you graduate, you can transfer without a consequence.
Like that too. 3 for 3. We're 3 for 3.
For all other instances, players must sit one season following their transfer. This would mitigate.
So the details of sitting, does sitting mean you're taking up a scholarship? Does it mean you're not? I mean, there would have to be more clarification. But yeah, I don't know if you would be still using a scholarship if you're sitting out a year.
Not eliminate, but this would mitigate the tampering and again, in some cases, the extortion with agents trying to renegotiate every single.
So he says it would minimize tampering. I think it would minimize tampering for younger, talented players. But if you have a third-year guy, I mean, they're going to tamper with him if he has that one free transfer because he's only got a year or two left. So I definitely do think it's not going to get rid of tampering, but it's going to help with tampering for like these true freshman 5-stars that aren't starting immediately.
Year. However, I want to say this. Any player who does have to sit a year, they can have that year of eligibility back reinstated upon graduation.
So what he's meaning by, I'm trying to picture kind of what he means by that. So if you sat out a year, you get the eligibility back if you came back for your 4th year. So I guess I don't really. If you're at one university for 3 years and you go to the next one for your 4th year, do you graduate in 1 year? I would assume most of the credits would transfer over. And yeah, he's saying that if you graduate, but I guess if you're only there for 4 years, you lose one because of you transfer twice. You only have 3 total of years, which means I don't know how you get a 4th year to graduate. I don't know how maybe you redshirt. I don't know how you would get that year back. Maybe you can graduate in 3 years, a little early. I know a lot of players they go to the draft, they graduate in 3 years. So that's probably what he means. But for players that aren't good enough for the draft, I don't know how you would get that 4th year if you don't have it. I guess, yeah, most people would have red shirts, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe didn't think through every situation, but I do like that. I do like that you can get it back after you graduate. It promotes graduation, and it promotes guys to come back instead of going to the draft.
This would incentivize graduation and minimize this 3-4 time transfer situation that to me is plaguing college football.
Okay. So yeah, said a lot there. Sorry that the first part of that was muted. I guess there were still subtitles. I'll add music so you have like something to listen to, so it's not just like awkward silence. But yeah, I think he said a lot of really good things. I do like the one free transfer. I think that allows guys to leave. They know they've made a mistake. That's something that really hurt college athletes. They made a mistake or they weren't what their star rating was, and they kind of get trapped in a roster and they get trapped at the bottom of a depth chart. I will say with the coaches leaving, is that like if you're a head coach, do assistant coaches, do offensive coordinators count? If you got recruited by specifically an offensive coordinator and he promises you this and he leaves and the next guy puts you under the bus in the depth chart, can you leave for that? Do you have to make your case? And I feel like it just leads to more confusion, which leads to more suing. And I am so tired of all the suing. But yeah, fixing tampering would be great. Ohio State hasn't done much tampering or had many players tampered with, I don't think, at least like bigger players. I don't think Quincy wasn't tampered. Milam wasn't tampered. I think maybe Quincy just convinced Milam to go. Milam should have stayed. Milam Graham should have stayed. But yeah, he's at Notre Dame now. But yeah, that's kind of what I have for you guys. I just thought it was interesting to kind of talk about what Dabo was talking about. I have a lot of respect for that guy. Don't like him as a football coach because I respect him and I like him as a football coach. Do not like him on the field because I have a lot of pain and trauma when it comes to Clemson. I hate Clemson. But yeah, anything else? I just made a video about the UFL. You guys should go watch. Aviators lost, but there's some upside in that loss. I'll be having videos coming out the next couple of days. I'm going to be going on vacation tomorrow morning, so the videos will all be pre-recorded. I'll be responding to comments. I'll probably be making shorts when I'm there. I'm going to Niagara Falls for spring break. Also, my dad surprised me this morning with the hot seat shirt. Banger. Absolute of a banger. Love it. It's actually super comfortable. It came from like Custom Ink, so it's not like bad Chinese, but it's like, well, maybe it's from China, I don't know. But it's, I mean, I don't know how expensive this was. But he got one for himself. He got one for my little brother and one for me, which is, I think, is hilarious. But that's all I have for you guys today. I'll see you guys all tomorrow, and as always, thank you.